Hi, it's John, and welcome to the channel. Great to have you along. 5:13 a.m. on Wednesday, February the 5th, with the big blue mug of coffee. The theme of today's video is Team Canada is a myth. And I'll get to that in just a moment. You know, it's been like a roller coaster of emotions in this country. We've been on the verge of chaos for months around here. I think since January 6th, people felt rather optimistic when Trudeau sort of semi-retired or semi-resigned. The next breath, he prorogued government, which was not a good thing, threw us into a liberal leadership campaign, which isn't a good thing. And, you know, basically we're on the verge of economic collapse because Trump tariffs can come in, so that's not looking good. And then all of a sudden, that's averted by a last 11th hour decision that Trump's going to hold off on the tariffs at least for a month. So we've got a bit of a reprieve. So we're kind of in an upswing. Yesterday, I did a video talking about things have changed in Canada because all of a sudden, provinces and people across the country, politicians thinking it's now important for us to get our natural resources out of the ground and look for another customer besides the United States to sell our stuff. And that's what I did my video on yesterday. But things can change very quickly, and they did yesterday afternoon. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. I want to show you a couple of pictures, all right? Let's start off with a couple of photos. Here's one right here. Look at all these people. This is in a gymnasium in North Calgary. I wrote the date down. I went back to my phone. This is Wednesday, November 13th, 2019, so quite a few years ago. I took this photo, and there's another photo right there. In fact, you might get the idea of the theme of this video by looking at my hat, because that's where I bought this hat. Now I want to look at a couple of articles that are connected, and it gives me great pains to talk about here. So let's look at this National Post story here. Trudeau says Canadians more united than ever in the face of U.S. tariff threats. We've collectively shown that when Canada's interests are in danger, our political identity no longer matters. This is absolute bullshit. Let's read a little bit of this article. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. I know when I read these things in quotes from Trudeau, you immediately think of his dramatic voice showing up. He's so soft and breathy. Oh, I love his hair and his socks. Okay, so speaking at a Lunar New Year reception in Ottawa, Trudeau said the past few weeks have been challenging, but said he was encouraged to see Canadians step up to support their local businesses and communities in the face of 25% U.S. tariffs. Quote, "That is the very best of Canada," unquote, Trudeau told the crowd on Tuesday evening. "We pull together when we're faced with challenges, and that's what we've seen from coast to coast to coast. We're more aligned than ever. We are more united than ever." Bullshit. "We've collectively shown that when Canada's interests are in danger, our political identity no longer matters. There is only one team, that is Team Canada," he added. There is no Team Canada, folks, and I'm going to prove it to you in just a moment. But this is all a scam. I and many people said that Trudeau and the Liberals were using the tariffs from Trump, and they wanted them because they wanted to prop up the poll numbers for the Liberal Party. Well, that has changed now, at least for 30 days. So now Trudeau has pivoted. He's pivoted to now the Liberals and he are the only ones that can unite Canada and bring us all together, and it's all a myth. I did a video actually the other day on this. And I didn't put it out. It was Monday afternoon. It's in the can and everything. It was based on an article written by Sue Ann Levy at True North, and I'll put a link in the description. And it was called Trump Tariffs and Faux Canadian Patriotism, because that's what this is. The very same people who right now are saying they're on Team Canada, like Trudeau, are the same people that tear down our statues of John A. Macdonald, tear down our statue of Queen Victoria, are trying to tear down our common history in this country. The same people who call you a settler because you're not an Indigenous person and that you're on stolen land. The same people that do that to you are saying they're on Team Canada right now, and it's a lot of garbage. So let's move to another story here. So here is the Premier of Quebec, François Legault. Premier calls on Quebecers to fight American trade threat. Our world is changing. We must increase our trade with the rest of Canada. And yes, we must work towards real free trade between Canadian provinces, said Legault. So this is good news. I did a video on it yesterday. How things are changing in Canada. People are thinking differently about our natural resources, including our oil. We need to get them to other places. We need to start trading to somebody else because most of our trade is with the United States and we cannot depend on them obviously, because of these tariffs that may be coming in still in March. And then I see this posted on X. Okay, so this is posted by Efrain Flores Monsanto, retweeted by Rebel News, and this is a Rebel News story. Credit goes out to them. Imagine being an Albertan watching this.
If during your discussions today, the issues of pipelines came up, and whether Quebec would now support either an Energy East or some other kind of pipeline that would take Alberta oil out to markets other than the U.S.
Yeah. Of course, right now, there's no social acceptability for this kind of project right now in Quebec. But, of course, situation, the economy, and what Mr. Trump is doing may change the situation in the future. So if there's a social acceptability, we will be open to these kind of projects. But right now, there's no social acceptability, no.
No social acceptability for a pipeline right now, says the Premier of Quebec. Poof. There goes your Team Canada, folks. And I just had a story where he said we must increase our trade with the rest of Canada, but not Alberta oil. And Trudeau says we're more united than ever. No, we're not. Let me put it to you this way. I live in Alberta, and we don't like Quebec at all. You know, we ship off our money that we earn to Quebec because they have none. They get their little daycare programs and their health care because of Alberta. Ralph Klein, the premier of this province, once said, let the eastern bastards freeze in the dark. If we shut off our oil, they would. I mean, Albertans still remember the National Energy Program under Trudeau Sr. I wasn't around for that, but people still talk about that to this day. It decimated our province. There is a national unity issue going to pop up. Danielle Smith has warned about that as well. She's the smartest politician right now in Canada. She was right when it came to diplomacy with Trump, and she's absolutely right when she says there is a unity issue on the horizon, even if the tariffs don't happen, because of stuff like what Legault said right there. I mean, it's staring us right in the face. Now, let me take you back to these pictures. Now, this again, Northern Calgary, huge school auditorium. I don't know how many people are there. There's a couple of photos for you. I took these photos. Again, that's where I got this hat. All of these people want Alberta to separate from Canada. Boy, it was great discussion that night. But I'll never forget, there was a Q&A that night, and somebody said, listen, we can't get our oil to the coast right now as part of Canada. How are we ever going to do it if we're not part of Canada? It's going to be harder. And I remember what the guy said. He said, well, if we want to get a pipeline out to British Columbia, and they say no to us, we say, well, f*** you, we're closing our borders to you. You're now cut off from the rest of Canada. You'll ship nothing through Alberta. You'll have to go through the United States. And I'm wondering what shippers would think of that. Do they want to ship into BC? Why would they do that? Ship it into the United States, cut out the middleman. BC would be just sitting out there, isolated, not part of Canada anymore. And as far as Quebec goes, he said, well, they're not going to get any of our transfer payments if they don't allow the oil to go through. And they won't get our oil either. F*** them as well. And that's what he said. And everybody went. So as far as Trudeau, he's using this national unity thing as a way for him to build up the poll numbers for the Liberals. But it ain't going to work, folks. This country is not unified right now. And all of Team Canada, poof, is falling apart. Thanks for watching the video. I do appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share it if you like it, and I'll see you in the next one.